SoapBox News is brought to you by the Small Business Surgeon Podcast and by Texas Media Foundry. Engineer your reality. Hello and welcome to SoapBox News. My name is Samuel Smith.
And I'm Nina Kaczorowski.
All right, here's today's headlines.
So from Newsweek, we have Iran protesters refuse to back down as 15,000 face execution.
That is a lot.
That is a lot.
That is a lot. That would make a mess. All right, next up from Forbes, we're going to take a look at how the youth vote really diluted that red wave that was expected in this week's elections. It was quite a surprise for some of the people in charge. So what are we going to look at next?
Next from CNBC, we have Dow pops 1,200 points, S&P 500 jumps 5% in biggest rally in 2 years after light inflation report.
That was a light report yesterday.
It was.
So, yeah, that's the stock market and crypto going through a meltdown and everything else. We've actually got an expert that's going to be on with us. I'll be interviewing him here shortly in the show. Andrew Sayles will be with us talking about the markets and talking about what's going on in stocks and in crypto. So really looking forward to that. What's next?
From AP News, we have U.S. to buy South Korean howitzer rounds to send to the Ukraine.
There's a lot to break down in that. Wow. Yeah, that's... You'd think we'd be making our own howitzer rounds at least. All right, well, looking on the next one, we are going to touch on the Biden administration stopping taking applications for student loan forgiveness based on a federal judge in Texas striking down that plan. So that's going to be an interesting one to look at. And then we're going to round the show out today with our final segment of Super Cool or Shut Up Fool. What are we talking about today?
Nick Cannon.
Nick Cannon. And
yeah. And has 12 kids.
All right. Nick Cannon has 12 kids, and we're going to be talking about that. See, he's facing backlash after baby number 12, as he's set to pay nearly $3 million a year in child support. So, congratulations to Nick Cannon on the proliferation of his semen. Well done, Nick. All right. So why are you... You've got to have a mustache to be a good newscaster. So, and then according to Ron Burgundy.
That's what you said.
Well, yeah. So, but you can't have a better mustache than me. That's not allowed. The only woman I know with a better mustache from me is the dinner lady from primary school. She actually had hairier legs than I did too. All right. Let's get on with this show.
All right.
First headline: Iran prosecutors refuse to back down as 15,000 people face execution. What?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Well, I mean, it all started off with the Kurdish woman that was arrested back in September for, I believe, improper form of...
she took her headdress off, right?
No, she had an improper form of it, I believe. That's what from what I understand. That's why she was arrested, and then that's when all the riots and things. And they've already killed, what? There's been already a couple hundred people.
I don't understand how we can have countries right now, and it says right here, nationwide protests continue in Iran for the 53rd straight day, despite nearly 15,000 Iranians having been arrested in connection to the demonstration. Number one, who's got 15,000 spare pairs of fucking handcuffs? Really? Like, how do you arrest 15,000 people? How do you protest?
Zip ties. That's what they're doing.
Damn.
It's zip ties that they use.
I'm glad you're such an expert on handcuffs. You're right. You're right, though. It's zip ties. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, that's what they do with all the riots and stuff. They zip tie all the people.
How do you arrest 15,000 people when you've got 15,000 people, right? Because, like...
What do they do? Put them all in a warehouse and, board it up?
How do you feed them?
Well, that's
45,000 sandwiches a day. Like, that's a lot. Like, the logistics of arresting 15,000 people. But in reality, like... We in America, we sit and we watch news and we say, you know what, that's really good, or that's really bad, or that's really fucked up. But like, to get hundreds of thousands of people into the streets protesting, that means there's something significantly wrong with the way the country is being run in the eyes of the population. Like, it takes a whole lot of discomfort for us to stop going to work and start picketing in order to change policies, right? So if they've arrested 15,000 Iranians, How many hundreds of thousands of Iranians are actually protesting this? Wow, I'm literally floored by what's going on. And what do we do as an international community? Because, like, you know, we've for so long, movies and propaganda and everybody shows Iran as the enemy.
Yep.
But when you look at a country as an enemy, you really have to say, is it the people of the country that are my enemy, or is it the few people at the top, the 15, 20, 200 people at the top that are the enemies? Because it looks as though those people in charge of Iran, it looks as though if they went to a democratic style of government, they would be kicked out and Iran would be back to normal like it used to be. If you've never, have you ever looked at pictures of 1970s Iran?
Oh, the women were gorgeous, and I mean, it totally blew my mind away whenever I saw that.
Let's take a look right now. Look at this, 1970s Iran from Getty Images. We're going to go check that out as you look at my screen recording.
Yes, look at that.
How normal of a place does that look? And now let's go and look at 20. And I'm using DuckDuckGo. I could use Google. Let's look at 2010's Iran. Look at that, straight up. Everybody, look at that. That's not cool, right? And then you go and dig a little bit back, and I encourage you to do this. What happened to Iranian freedom in the 1970s? Like, I seriously encourage you to go look at this stuff, and look at that. That looks very much like a revolution.
Yep.
Right? Then dig in, see who sponsored that revolution, who paid for it, who were the beneficiaries of it. Right? So here we go, worldatlas.com, the Iran Revolution. Because what's going on now in Iran is a direct result of what happened in Iran in the 1970s. Here we go. Pahlavi dynasty was overthrown and replaced by a new Islamic Republic of Iran. Who helped with the revolution, who paid for it, and who were the beneficiaries of it? Because when you look and you say there's no way a government would execute 15,000 people, you've just got to run back to Tiananmen Square.
I mean, history, if people actually look, you can pretty much find it all over the place.
So there are cables that have been published from the British consulate in China, like describe the people getting run over by tanks and then turned into a paste and then hosed off of the street in Tiananmen Square. I highly recommend you look that up. So what do we do about this? What do we do about Iran? I mean, I don't know, but I don't believe that the mainstream all of the facts here, and I certainly don't believe that Iranians are my enemy. I believe maybe the Iranian leaders might be the enemy of a lot of people, but I don't think those guys in the street. When you look at 70s Iran, look at those pictures. They don't look like enemies.
No, but it's like anything else. I mean, you've got good guys and bad guys everywhere.
Yeah,
in every company, in every business, in any industry, every country. It's,
yes, but
I'm
not going to beat you to death for not wearing a head
right. I get it, but that's what I'm just saying. It's just like they try to put everybody into this one pocket or bowl or whatever of all the bad guys, and it's like everybody's not the bad guy. There's just a couple of bad seeds.
No, there's probably a lot of really cool people in Iran.
I've got friends all over. I mean, every nationality, every gay, straight, whatever. I mean, I don't have a problem with any of that because we go and have dinner, have a hangout, shoot the shit, whatever. It's the normal people.
Right, and so I think that, man, there's definitely an opportunity here for, like, it makes you wonder if armed conflict isn't just propagated deliberately in order to bring about sales of things that you need to conduct armed conflict. I mean, you know, it doesn't look like anybody in Iran right there really fancies a fight, does it? They look quite peaceful. They look quite happy. They look quite well off as well. They look really well to do. So anyway, Iran, definitely worth digging into. All right, so we're going to run over now to Forbes and take a look at a quite critical mistake that the election pundits missed. The youth vote helps to dilute the red wave to pink tint in a country that is well known for its apathy at voting and getting the youth to vote. It looks like they missed the boat on this one. The youth really showed up.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I mean, I don't really even know what to think about it. I mean, bottom line is everybody's never going to be happy. 100% of America is never going to be happy with any choice anybody makes. You're always going to have half of them not happy with whoever's in office, and you're going to have half of them that are happy. I mean, the thing is like, I'm kind of over the two-party system.
I think we all are. Yeah.
And, you know, it's everybody keeps voting either for the lesser of the two evil, or they find one particular thing, you know, if it's abortion or if it's this or that, whatever, that they focus on, and that's all they're voting on, and not looking over the overall picture of what that really means. So
I agree.
I'm just kind of like...
What's your opinion, though, on such a strong youth turnout? What do you think?
I think that's great.
What do you think caused that?
I'm hoping that they're waking up and, you know, getting involved. Because, I mean, to be honest, I wasn't involved in politics or was voting at 18. I didn't care. I was off doing what I needed to go do and working and shooting movies and whatnot. I wasn't really caring what
Dude, I was.
So finally I woke up and I was like, oh, maybe I need to pay attention here.
Man, I was so into it. I ran in the school general election. We had a mock general election. I think it was 1996.
I did that in school and high school, but still wasn't to...
Well, I ran as the UK Independence Party candidate. And, you know, this was a new Labour got in Britain. So the Labour candidate obviously swept it. But I placed third, and I beat the guy that was running for the current government. So I was like,
nice.
Yeah, I was quite pleased with that. But I was really into politics as a kid. I knew how important it was. Obviously, when I moved to America, I'm not a citizen. I'm a permanent resident, so I don't have the right to vote out here. But I do have the right to make television programs and you know, put my opinion out there on podcasts and stuff. But man, I think it's really good that the youth turnout is like. I'll read some numbers from. In fact, if you read this from the article here, starting there.
Starting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you need glasses?
Well, Tufts University Center for Information and Research on Civic Learning and Engagement says that 27% of young people ages 18 to 29 turned out to vote in the 2022 midterm election, making it the second highest youth turnout rate for a midterm election in the past 30 years.
I think this is a master.
Wow.
I think this is a master chess move by the Democrats. In all honesty, because you've got a very, very out of touch kind of right wing, and the louder the right wing gets, the more further right it goes. There's nobody really in the middle going, hey guys, let's take a few ideas from here and a few ideas from there. This is what we're trying to do.
Right.
But the louder the voices, the more extreme they are. And I think the Democrats have played an absolute fucking masterstroke here by very, very, very quickly in the run-up to the midterms doing two things that will engage a normally disengaged user base.
Right.
Or voter base. The first thing they did was the entire Roe versus Wade debacle. By pushing that into the forefront of people's minds, they were very, very quickly able to overcome the pain and anger that was hanging around the electorate based on the shutdowns and based on the vaccines and based on the absolute unmitigated clusterfuck that COVID was. So,
Squirrel, look over here.
So you know what we're going to do? We're going to fuck up Roe versus Wade, and now boom. All right, now we've got an incredibly sensitive, hot topic issue, a hot button issue that's going to say, you know what? I'm going to go vote, and I don't care. I'm going to vote for the people that agree with me on this issue. The second masterstroke they did was saying, hey, we're going to get rid of some of the student debt for you. We're going to lay off of that. We're going to take care of a little bit of it for you. And so by not doing anything, they've not really actually done anything. They've just talked about what they're going to do. You know, it's quite a mess, isn't it? Yeah. And by putting those out there and by I don't know the words, but it's almost like they poked a hornet's nest of division intentionally to divide us, intentionally to get out voters that would vote on the pain of those two specific issues. And in sales, if you want somebody to take action, you have to make it more painful for them to stand still than it is for them to move, because standing still is pretty comfortable.
Right.
So what the Democrats did was poke hard enough and twist a knife on two critical issues to make it painful enough for people that don't normally vote to say, I'm going to go vote. And honestly, hats off to the Democrats, because strategically you completely outplayed the Republicans.
Yeah.
Completely.
Did.
Just well done. Not that I'm neither Democrat or Republican. I'm socially liberal and I'm fiscally conservative. Right. And there's not really a party out there that represents what I'm about.
There's a lot of people like that. That's what's so...
Yes.
I mean, everybody I know, that's exactly what...
Oh, I'm the silent majority. Well, guess what? It's time to not be silent. Like, if the majority of people in this country are right around the middle, and all we're listening to is extreme left and extreme right, I think I'm doing that to my right. I think I got the camera backwards though, so I might have gone to your left, but you understand. You only get the extremes.
Right.
So what do we do?
Like what that guy did yesterday.
What did he do yesterday?
Run as an independent and make him go into a runoff.
He ran as an independent. Yeah, I forgot that fella's name.
Eventually, eventually enough independents do that. Hopefully the independents will start winning instead of making them go to a runoff.
Well,
I mean, somebody's got to start somewhere, right?
Honestly, this is, for those of you that listen to Andy Frisella, this is a well-repeated line, but the way to fix this is through personal excellence. It's through being the best version of yourself possible, building the best family possible, building the best community possible, being involved in all those things, and then like this all is fixed at the local level, all of it. I honestly think we should stop paying attention to the fellas on TV telling us which way to vote, and I think we should go and use our own discretion to find people that agree with the things that we want done, and that's how it works. Yeah. Anything else to add on that?
No, not that.
All right. Let's look at the next article, which is a stock market surge. Want to read that for me?
Sure. From CNBC, Dow pops 1,200 points. S&P 500 jumps 5%, and biggest rally in 2 years.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I have never seen the Dow jump 1,000 points in a day. The biggest one-day gain since stocks were emerging from the depths of the pandemic bear market. Yeah. Is this good? Is this bad?
I guess depends on if you're invested in it or not.
I don't know, because like treasury yields have gone down significantly. Interest rates are just running rampant. I mean, look, the consumer price index, like, it was at 7.8%, and they were happy because it wasn't at 8%. Right. But 7.8% is still staggeringly high inflation compared to what we've had historically. And everybody runs back to the 80s and goes, oh, it was at 18%.
Yeah,
and stuff.
really, yeah, exactly.
But are we going there again?
Man. Could you imagine going back to that at this time in 2022?
I mean,
that kind of percent. 18%? Oh my God.
Yeah, but when you just like...
I mean, food inflation's already at 20% higher from a couple years ago, so...
When you print, right, when you create trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars and they're completely unsecured, what is the only thing that can happen? What's the only outcome from that? Did none of you fuckers at the Federal Reserve see this, or did you do it on purpose? That's the biggest question I've got. Because when you inject trillions of dollars that weren't earned, that were created, when you inject that into an economy, the only thing that can happen is devaluation of the currency in the marketplace that already exists.
Right.
Right? If I've got $1,000 and a cup of coffee, and for the sake of argument, say that cup of coffee costs $1,000,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
And you magic $1,000 out of the air. You say, I'll pay $1,000 for that coffee too, but you just magic that $1,000.
Right.
So now there's $2,000 bidding for the same $1,000 cup of coffee. But then Tex over there in the back also has $1,000 magic dollars,
right,
that just popped into existence, and there's still only one coffee. So what happens?
The value of the coffee goes up.
The price of the coffee goes up because the value of the money,
the demand,
it just goes down. Like, this is like so fucking basic. How have we allowed a financial system like if you all haven't looked up like fractional reserve banking and how the Federal Reserve actually works, and the fact that the Federal Reserve is only federal by title, like, it's absolutely insane that as a nation and as a country, and even as a block of nations, let's say, because half of my viewers are British, like, when you allow people to control the supply of money and the value of that currency, they can literally control everything. And when it's created from thin air like that, as a fiat currency is, you have to ask yourself, why am I going to work?
Right.
Why am I paying off my house?
Well, that's what's happening. That's what a lot of people are doing. Like, that's mentality.
Yeah. So I think that this is a long way from the end. Now, we do have a stock market and crypto expert coming on here very shortly. So we're going to go now. This is an interview that I recorded here just a little while ago. We're going to go now and hear from our crypto and stock market expert, Andrew Sayles. So for this segment of today's Soapbox News Show, I've actually had to jump back into the Small Business Surgeon studio because that's where our Zoom is still set up, and I have brought with us crypto expert Andrew Sayles from C&C Every Day. Thank you, Andrew, for joining us. How you doing, pal?
Oh, thank you guys so much for having me, man. I love doing this stuff.
Andrew, I'm just going to cut to the chase. What in the world? Right, we saw a 1,200 point jump in the stock market yesterday, and we saw an absolute meltdown in crypto. And man, you guys are the experts on this. What in the world's going on, man?
Man, so I know we only got about 15 minutes, but it's a lot to unpack. And at the 10,000 foot view, there were two billionaires going back and forth, and it was who was the bigger billionaire, and one billionaire won. And the whole market is bleeding because of it. So to give some details, there's an exchange called FTX, and then there's an exchange called Binance. And FTX, they have their own token, their own crypto coin called FTT, that if you hold it, you get a discount on trading fees and stuff like that. And it went on a big run. It was like 22 something bucks. So it was valuable, quote unquote. Well, what happened was FTX, what they were doing, and what's common amongst a lot of exchanges, like I run a private group where I consult on crypto, and I teach everybody day one, is only leave on the exchanges which you're actively trading or moving around. Anything else should be in what's called an offline wallet or a decentralized wallet.
Now, that's a cold wallet, right? That's the same thing, something like that. So in effect, you're keeping all your cash separate from the exchanges, and then when you want to do some trading, you load the cash onto the exchange. Is that how that works?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So like I look at my strategy is I trade to accumulate more Bitcoin, even though I run an NFT project, but I move money on to make my trade. And then as I take profits, I instantly ship those profits to Bitcoin and send it to my cold wallet or, sometimes my other wallets. But regardless, I have exchanges I use, but I only trust them so far.
So man, what implications of what's gone on of this fight between these billionaires, what implications does that have on crypto as a whole, man? What exactly is going on? Because I look at this stuff now and the amount of movement in these coins, and as an investor, I'm genuinely concerned about the long-term value of this. What's happening here?
So to be real, and granted, this is my personal strategy, right? Long term, nothing changes. If you believe in the tech, you believe in the tech. It's going to be okay if you were in the right spots. Now, if you were in gambles, you should have known you were gambling. But like if you were in Bitcoin, long term coins, you should believe that it's going to be okay. Now, the implications are big, right? Because FTX was loaning out assets of their users to trade, and they had them leveraged. They were borrowing against them. So when there was the rush on the bank, when all this news came out, there was massive sell-offs. So now FTX, the assets they do have, they're having to sell off to give their users money. And not only that, the billionaire he's battling with, CZ Binance, he owns a bunch of these FTX coins. So he was selling off millions and driving the price down. But here's the major implications. FTX, they own 10% of a major coin called Solana.
Yes.
And that's why you're seeing Solana tank hard. My project's built on Solana. And there's a lot of panic about them selling it off. And about 500 million worth of Solana that was locked became available for sale yesterday for people to be able to start selling it off. So I'm expecting more pain to come into Solana from all these sell-offs. But then the even bigger market-wide impact is there's something called Sol BTC, Sol ETH, Solana, Ethereum, Solana, Bitcoin, and FTX, the exchange that just went under. Each Solana Bitcoin was supposed to be backed by one actual Bitcoin. Well, they lost all those Bitcoin and all those Ethereum. So if you hold any Solana Ethereum, a Solana Bitcoin, it's worthless now. There's nothing backing it. So I think that we see market-wide impact, so cataclysmic proportions off this right here. And I don't think the rest of the market's quite caught up because we saw a little sell-off on the news, but I don't think they really understand how big this is.
Yeah, dude, now I'm pretty well caught up in how this all works. And when you take assets that a consumer has entrusted to you and you leverage those assets and borrow against them and do crazy risky shit with them, and man, isn't there some law against that? I mean, because that sounds like we're getting into Ponzi scheme territory. What's going to happen to these guys?
And there's the good and the bad with it, right? The SEC's already investigating and seeing what's going on there. So the good is regulations should come into play. The bad is the people writing these regulations might not fully. They fully don't understand the tech. So somebody should go to prison over this. People lost billions, but
what's to stop the next guy? What's to stop me coming along, going right on? I've got the Sam coin now. Come buy my Sam coin. What's to stop the next guy doing this? How do you, as an investor, right? And let's say I'm not a crypto expert. Let's just say I like investing in things. As an investor, how do you look at crypto and go, yeah, that seems safe, I'm going to put some money in there, given the track record that it's had over the last few months and the amount of things that have gone wrong?
So you really got to ask yourself, am I an investor or am I a gambler / trader?
Yeah.
Now, if I'm investing, I'm looking at coins that I believe are going to be here a long time, and I have reasons to believe they're going to be here a long time. And if you don't know those reasons, find somebody like me.
Okay, so not to play devil's advocate, but we thought you must have thought the coin that you based your platform around was going to be around for a long time, right?
Yeah, I mean, I still think Solana is going to be around, right? Just because the price doesn't reflect the tech right now. Solana could go to $5 and it'll still be the coin with the best tech.
Right.
Now the coin FTT that was tied to FTX, I held zero of it. Anybody I'm close to held zero because we knew it didn't make sense. There were a lot of red flags there. So if an exchange is offering you crazy amounts of return on your money to leave your money parked there, that money has to come from somewhere. Now, obviously, they make trading fees, this and that. But you can do mental math based on the amount of users, amount of fees, and figure out that the returns they were paying wasn't sustainable off fees. So it was either was a Ponzi or they were playing with people's money, and it was a mix of both.
Wow, that's incredible. So Andrew, in real talk, what are some things that worried crypto investors should be doing right now, and where do they need to go so they can stay abreast of these issues?
Absolutely. So the best way to stay on top of everything is follow me on Twitter. I'm at Close Some Sales, SAYLES, like my last name.
That's a play on words. I like that.
Yeah. Or my project page, CANDC Every Day. That's our project's called Coffee and Crypto. We host a Twitter space. It's like a podcast every single day at 9:06 a.m. Central. And we're just constantly educating. We have everything from experts to beginners. Experts learn from beginners. There are no bad questions. Now, what I would tell everybody in my space right now is you have to take a hard look at your portfolio. Were you getting in coins because you thought somebody else was gonna buy it from you for more later, or did you truly believe in the tech? And if the tech hasn't changed, nothing changed other than the price. So you're safe there. Now, if you were in coins that you thought somebody was going to buy for you more later, fair enough. I make those trades all the time. But right now, personally, I'm on the sidelines with investments. So what I do is I've shifted out of a lot of positions into what's called USDT or USDC, which is a cryptocurrency that's backed 1-to-1 with US dollars.
Right.
So I'm waiting for what I like to be the perceived bottom, and then I'll swoop in. I'll buy a bunch of $5, $5 to $8 Solana, a bunch of $8,000 Bitcoin, and anything else that I think is relevant at that point in time.
That seems like a pretty smart move. Dude, we got to wrap this up. We're running out of time on the show. I want to thank you, Andrew, for coming and spending this time with us. Give us those Twitter handles one more time, and then we'll get those in the show notes as well, so people can go follow you.
So my personal page is @CloseSomeSales, SAYLES, like my last name. And my project page, which our Twitter space is hosted through, is CANDC every day. Crypto and coffee every day.
Wonderful. My man, Andrew, thank you so much for coming on the show and giving us some insight into the crypto. Guys, be sure and go and follow Andrew on his Twitters. We'll put the links in the show notes. And all right, it's I've always wanted to say this, but it's time. Back to the studio. It's time for a commercial break. Oh, look at that. And the funny thing about these commercials is they're ones that I made. Well, that to say me and my trusty team over at the Texas Media Foundry. So my name is Sam and I'm the presenter of SoapBox News and currently its only sponsor. The Small Business Surgeon is my consulting company and the Texas Media Foundry is my media company, and this is the kind of stuff we make. I'm taking a minute now to showcase what we do so that we can generate some revenue from putting together SoapBox News. So thank you for looking at this and take a look at our work, and if there's anything that you see there that you like recreated for your company, we'd love to work with you. So without further ado, let's get back to the news, and if you need video or help with your small business, you know who to call. And you'll see there that those were a couple of commercials that we slid in for the Texas Media Foundry and the Small Business Surgeon, because that is currently how we pay for SoapBox. That's how we make our money around here. So thank you for taking the time to watch those ads. And like I said, if there's anything that we can do for you, we are wide open for opportunities that let us make this news show, right?
Right.
All right, so a huge thanks again to Andrew Sayles, our crypto expert. Now, time for the next headline. Nina, what have you got?
Oh, U.S. to buy South Korean howitzers rounds to send to the Ukraine.
Now, howitzers are like those mobile little guns that fire really big, like, that's some serious artillery. What do you think about this?
Well, I mean...
Why don't we read the headline again? Why don't you read the headline again, right? And then I will reread the headline. Okay, go ahead.
U.S. to buy South Korean howitzer rounds to send to the Ukraine.
Okay. U.S. taxpayers to pay foreign manufacturer taxpayer money to send artillery shells to foreign country that is currently being invaded by Russia. How about that?
All right. Like
that sound good?
That probably explains it a little bit better.
Because that's how it feels to me. U.S. to buy South Korean howitzer. Who the fuck pays for that?
We do.
All right, so number one, why don't we have a howitzer round manufacturing facility in, I don't know, Detroit?
Right.
Look, if we have to pay for howitzer rounds, which I think is absolutely awful anyway, but if we have to buy howitzer rounds, like,
should we just buy them?
Should we not buy them from an American company? American tax dollars, American manufacturing, American jobs, and then that money gets spent in the American economy. But no, once again, the US taxpayer is fleeced by a very, very, very sophisticated money laundering operation masquerading as war. Wow. God, I am trying to get us a expert on the Ukraine situation to come talk to us next week.
Yeah, he's got some stuff that people don't know about how some of the stuff that works.
The US will buy 100,000 rounds of howitzer artillery from South Korean manufacturers to provide to Ukraine. Man, you see, I don't know enough about the Ukrainian conflict. I have a friend from Belarus who now lives in Texas, who I'm trying to get to come talk to us. Again, we have a Ukrainian expert as well, trying to get to come on to talk to us. But Ukraine is burning, it says in the article, 7,000 rounds of ammunition a day, while Russia is firing as much as 20,000 rounds daily. I mean, you know, equal opportunity profiteering, realistically, we should be manufacturing weapons and selling them to both sides. I mean, that's what
South Korea is probably already doing. They're probably selling them to everybody, just us.
Traditional capitalism. Man, I think there's so much hypocrisy out around here. You can't say anything bad about Ukraine. You can't say anything positive about Russia. But the one thing I do know, right, go back to the Iranians and how every person, every man just wants to do a little bit better for his family.
Right.
I'd be willing to bet that all those Russian fellas in that conflict zone, they all just want to go home. Yeah. They all just want what's best for their family. And I'd be willing to bet all the Ukrainians just want what's best for their family. And I don't know enough about the assets of the Ukraine. I really think this is being fought over energy and Ukraine's strategic position between Russia and Europe. I really think this needs looking into, and if you care to dig a little bit, there are a list of politicians on both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats, that have children that are on the boards of Ukrainian energy companies. And I think that bears a little bit of digging into. What do you think about that?
I think so.
You think so? All right, well, I'm not going to name them, but this right here is a search engine. It's called DuckDuckGo, right down on the screen. You can jump on there and you can look that up for yourself. But maybe we check out what U.S. Congress members have children on Ukrainian boards. Let's see what the search engines tell us. Well, look, fact check immediately. Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry, and Mitt Romney do not. Wow. What are the odds? And then another one. What are the odds 4 U.S. politicians have children working? Wow, this is definitely worth looking into. So I would take a look at that, because I think we've got some very, very strange connections between what's going on in Ukraine and what's going on politically in this country, specifically with that chap. Oh, hello. All right, what's our next headline?
Well, Biden administration stops taking applications for student loan forgiveness. So how does that work?
Hold on. What day is this published? Friday, November 11th.
Today.
What day was the midterms? Tuesday, November 8th. It took them 3 days, guys. 3 days.
I didn't even think about that.
Vote for us. We'll cancel you. 3 fucking days,
3
guys.
days later, it's over.
That's got to be a record. That's got to be a record. That's like, baby, I'll call you tomorrow, I promise.
The 3-day dating rule, right?
I don't know that rule. What is that?
You're not supposed to call until the third day, because then you're like,
I never fucking call. All right. But no, for real. 3 days after an election, right, where one of the platforms they use to engage young voters, students, millennials, people really struggling to pay off debt for an absolutely useless college degree. I am a huge proponent of further education. I'm a huge proponent of continuing education.
Yeah.
I am not a proponent of putting kids 100 grand in debt to get a degree that will pay them 50 grand a year. If you're going to spend 100 grand on education, make sure you're educating yourself. That's the top tip. Also, I wouldn't let an 18-year-old take out a $100,000 loan to start a business. Why in the world are we letting 18-year-old kids take out $100,000 loans to go and get degrees? The whole thing needs looking at. But for me, the headline is, Biden administration says, fuck y'all, thanks for your votes, and good luck paying back your loans. So I would love for CNBC to have more accurate headlines. But unless you've got anything to add to that, that is a huge middle finger from the Biden administration to the students.
Did anybody get their loans forgiven?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't know anybody personally. I know a lot of people complain because they just paid theirs off right before they announced that.
I don't know. Now, as we read the article, this is from a federal judge in Texas, has rejected it and put a stop on it. So it may be Republican, Democrat thing. I think it's a masterstroke from the folks in charge to get people to vote the way they want to vote. The group called Biden's plan irrational, arbitrary, and unfair. Yeah. Well, I don't think...
that's all true.
I don't think that putting students in debt to get an education is the right way for responsible adults to make sure the furthering of consciousness happens. There, I just don't think that. I don't think that education should be as heavily financed as it is. I don't think education should be free at all. No, don't think that. But there has to be some way to unfuck this. Because what we're getting now is masses of kids coming out of school with degrees that hold no real value in a marketplace and no way to pay back loans that are not dischargeable through a bankruptcy. Right. So this is essentially creating an entire layer, if you like, in society of middle-class slaves, because it's very difficult to outwork and out-earn a $100,000 or $150,000 loan at 7% interest that's non-dischargeable. Like, you're talking 20 years of indentured servitude to lending institutions that, man, there's got to be a better way for higher education to exist overall worldwide than it is encumbering kids with just massive amounts of debt. So let's put our thinking hats on and see if we can figure that out, you know? Like, I don't know, you got any ideas?
Not right now.
Well, you're on the show because you're the ideas person. Look, I'm the good-looking one. You're the ideas one.
Yeah, I don't have any ideas how to fix that, though.
I do and I don't. It's a very difficult obstacle to overcome. It really is, because I don't like the fact that we are leaving a bunch of 22, 23, 24-year-olds with massive mountains of debt to climb. But I also, you know, in an ideal world, school would be free. But there's a lot to pay for as well when it comes to running a school. So I understand that's got to be paid for and managed too. I just think that, American schools, especially, a lot of them now are commercialized sports programs with an education thing attached. Right. The amount of money that goes through college football, hundreds of millions of dollars through schools and football programs. There's got to be a way to monetize that and help offset the cost of education or something. It feels wrong to me as a 42-year-old guy that's got a little bit about him now. It feels wrong to see kids go that deep in debt. And it feels like it's my job as an older guy to show them a better way or to help figure out a better way to do it. I just don't know the answer.
Yeah.
You know? All right, it's almost time for the last segment of the show now. But before we do, we're going to throw a super quick commercial up here for my friend Brad Gores at JBG Plumbing. Now, he didn't pay for this slot, but what is to do? This is to showcase what the Texas Media Foundry created for his local blue-collar business and how we can do the same for yours. So take a quick look at this commercial, and we'll be right back with our last segment of the day.
We provide a service as a plumbing company, and you have to be licensed and experienced in order to be in this line of work. And as a business, that's what we're here to do, is to complete the call, give them what they were asking for, which is help with something that they don't understand. They want it done right and no longer to be an issue. And that's why it's important to follow through and not make a temporary fix.
Are you looking for a new exciting career? Join our team today.
Last segment of the day. Time to wrap it up. You ready to read this headline for me? Let's go.
All right.
She's been waiting for this one the whole time, because this is the woman.
No.
There's a woman's opinion. Oh man, this is fun. This is gonna be fun. What's the last one?
Nick Cannon faces backlash after baby number 12 reveal as he sets to pay nearly $3 million a year in child support.
12 babies.
I can't.
What?
I mean, I got 3 boys and one's an adult, not at home, and you'd probably have to put me in a straitjacket in the loony house.
Okay.
With 12 kids.
Let's back up a minute, right? If I've got $3 million a year in disposable income that I want to spend on child support, why shouldn't I have 12 kids? Why shouldn't I have 30 kids?
Hey, to each his own.
Look, if a man is masculine and is a good provider and is an attractive male, right?
Yeah.
If a guy makes $20 million a year,
yeah,
and he wants to spend $5 million a year propagating with a bunch of women, it's his money. He made it. I don't have a problem with it.
No, you're right.
You want 12 kids? If you can pay for 12 kids, go have 12 kids.
Right. And it's not like it's a secret and the other women don't know about the other women and kids, so everybody's, I guess, in agreement.
Could you imagine how terrible a Nick Cannon couch would be for Airbnbs? Use our couch, never pulls out. Like, this couch doesn't work. Like, that would be awful. So, nothing else to add on that? No? Maybe he's just a fan of, like, you know.
Well, no, I mean, he has said in the past that he wants a bunch of kids. He has said that. He has publicly gone out and said that he wants a bunch of kids.
Well, then...
hey, as long as they're taken care of and they're all happy, whatever. I mean, it's his life, not ours, so who are we to judge?
I don't really know who Nick Cannon is. The headline just came up. It came up in entertainment news. I'm like, you know what? If that fella wants 12 kids, let him have it. In fact, it reminds me of the story of a guy whose name I've forgotten. I was working in the oil field in East Texas, and... East Texas had some very different rules back in the day. And this fella was a black jazz musician in the 1920s and 30s in Texas.
Yes, I remember this story.
So my job in the past was a title researcher for oil and gas law. I did a lot of it. I got very high up in oil and gas. And we had a drill site where we planned to drill on. And this fella... this is back before social media.
Right.
So you go from town to town to town to town. Nobody knows you in each of these other towns. So in his descent and distribution stuff, he got like 9 kids. But then we found a second wife and he'd had 11 kids. So the fella had 19 kids. And then as we started doing the research, we found 22 illegitimate children for a total number of 41 kids.
Jeez, I didn't realize that many.
41 kids. But, like, if that's your thing, if that's what you want to do.
Hey,
what is, like, all right, remove marriage, remove society. Like, let's just pretend animals and shit, right?
Right.
What's the male animal's job?
To
accumulate females, breed with females.
Right.
Right? So...
spread the seed.
Seems like Nick Cannon's doing a great job. In fact, Nick Cannon, if you're around, I'll give you a high five, pal. Well done. All right. Anything else to add?
No.
Okay, I think that's it for the news for today.
Guys.
That was immense amounts of fun. Hang around for a minute. We are doing SoapBox News, me and my team. This is all designed as practice. We are developing the SoapBox app, which is a censorship-free streaming platform for media, for podcasters, for journalists, for all us guys that want to say stuff and just feel like we've nowhere to say it. So we're developing that app. It will be coming within the next 4 to 6 months, just depending on how long it takes us to build and all the beta testing we've got to do. SoapBoxNews.com will be up and running over this weekend, so you can follow us there. For now, check us out on YouTube, check us out on Rumble, check us out on Facebook.
Right.
Where else are we at? Like, is that about it?
Are we on Instagram yet?
We are on Instagram, we're on Twitter. God, there's so many things to think about. Like, if you've never tried creating a streaming platform and an app and a news program at the same time whilst holding down a job, you really should give it a go because it's quite tricky.
Yes, it is.
All right, so that's it from us. What time will we be back on Monday morning? It's 9:30.
I was going to say 9:30 for the live, and then we'll be back at 9 p.m.
Go live at 9:30 on Monday morning, but don't forget, tune in tonight. You can join the SoapBox News group on Facebook. You can follow the SoapBox News page. You can follow my page. You can follow Nina's page, whatever you got to do. But 9 o'clock every night, we'll be dropping episodes like this one, and we'd love to see you there, and we'd love you to take this journey with us. All right? So I'm going to say bye. Say bye, Nina.
Bye, Nina.
is SoapBox News, brought to you by the Small Business Surgeon Podcast. Check it out on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you find your podcasts. And by Texas Media Foundry. Video production for transportation, industrial, small and large businesses all across the country. Check them out at txfoundry.com.